Hold on to your seats, stock market enthusiasts. We're about to delve into some news that's making waves in the financial world. News that's so electrifying, it's got even the most seasoned investors bubbling with excitement. We're talking about none other than Jensen Huang-led Nvidia Corporation, which is capturing all the spotlight ahead of a crucial earnings report. With industry heavyweights like Jim Cramer and Braxton Worth chiming in with bullish forecasts, there's a palpable buzz around this stock. Let's uncover why Nvidia has everyone so thrilled and what potential awaits just around the corner. Hello everyone and welcome back to Investocracy.
So you asked about what else is going to happen. Every 6 months I oscillate. So we're on it's an even odd oscillation. So at the moment, the gap between the frontier models, of which there are now only 3, I'll review who they are, and everybody else, appears to me to be getting larger. 6 months ago, I was convinced that the gap was getting smaller. So I invested lots of money in the little companies. Now I'm not so sure. And I'm talking to the big companies, and the big companies are telling me that they need 10 billion, 20 billion, 50 billion, 100 billion.
Stargate is 100 billion, right?
They're very, very hard. Sam Altman is a close friend. He believes that it's going to take about 300 billion, maybe more. I pointed out to him that I'd done the calculation on the amount of energy required. And I then, in the spirit of full disclosure, went to the White House on Friday and told them that we need to become best friends with Canada. Because Canada has really nice people, helped invent AI, and lots of hydropower. Because we as a country do not have enough power to do this. The alternative is to have the Arabs fund it. And I like the Arabs personally. I spent lots of time there, right? But they're not going to adhere to our national security rules, whereas Canada and the US are part of a triumvirate where we all agree on.
So these $100 billion, $300 billion data centers, electricity starts becoming the scarce resource.
And by the way, if you follow this line of reasoning, why did I discuss CUDA and Nvidia? If $300 billion is all going to go to Nvidia, you know what to do in the stock market. Okay. That's not a stock recommendation. I'm not a licensed.
Investors, fasten your seatbelts because the stock market is abuzz with Nvidia and the anticipation surrounding its upcoming earnings report. Braxton Worth, the founder of Worth Charting LLC and a well-known technical analyst, has given a ringing endorsement for Nvidia, suggesting that a long-term strategy around its earnings period could be highly lucrative. As he put it during CNBC's Fast Money, play long into earnings and post-earnings, the data seems to agree with Worth. Technical indicators are strongly pointing to a continued upward trajectory for Nvidia. It's not hard to see why analysts are bullish. For the second quarter of fiscal 2025, projections are flying. Analysts anticipate an earnings figure of $0.64 per share and a revenue of $28.68 billion. With Nvidia already posting a jaw-dropping 160% increase in its stock value year-to-date, a solid earnings performance could propel this stock even higher. Every investor knows the saying, buy on the rumor, sell on the news. But in Nvidia's case, it appears the strategy might be buy and hold, then buy some more. Let's not overlook the insights of Jim Cramer, the ever-animated host of CNBC's Mad Money. But before we do that, if you want to keep up with Nvidia's latest updates and keep up with the stock market's latest news, you can follow our Twitter account. We post multiple times daily about the biggest changes and catalysts in the market, so click the follow button if you don't want to miss the newest market updates. Now, back to today's video.
I mean, one of the stories of this earnings season has been the kind of growing skepticism about the immediate profitability of the AI trade, whether all this spending, actually has applications for consumers and businesses in the near term. I think everyone kind of believes in AI as a secular growth trend. Long term, Nvidia's report can change all of that mixed sentiment, and I think start to pull money back into AI if it shows another one of these blowout quarters that people are talking about AI and pulling forward some spend, and there are applications, and they are such an important stock, and what they have to say on AI is so critical. I think it can change sentiment on the whole space overnight.
We're talking about sentiment for a minute. UBS out with the note talking about the, the quote unquote whisper number when it comes to Nvidia. So estimates have Q3 revenue coming in at about $31.5 billion. The whisper number is $33 to $34 billion. We're showing it on the screen right now. In your mind, Does Nvidia have to get to that whisper number to reignite that tech trade, or is simply just meeting, again, sky-high expectations? Is that good enough?
I do think we're at the point where meeting expectations is probably not enough. We've had quarter after quarter of blowout growth. The big tech stocks have had a really aggressive move on the back of this AI sentiment over the last year and a half, 2 years. So I think to keep the move higher, and especially to reignite a rotation into tech stocks and out of that cyclical trade that's built on the back of a soft landing and lower rates, you have to continue to beat expectations. You have to, come out with aggressive guidance, and you have to really speak on the earnings call, about this optimism and kind of counter some of the updates we've heard from other big tech and AI linked conglomerates. So you probably have to beat by a significant margin. And I think the guidance is really important too, because people are starting to get skeptical about those near-term applications.
Cramer also sees a favorable outlook for Nvidia, notably expecting a staggering $2 billion upside surprise in the reported quarter, and a lift of another $2 billion for the current quarter from the AI chipmaker. With such robust forecasts, the foundation of Nvidia's stock appears strong, despite recent market swings. Now, here's a lighthearted joke to keep things engaging. Why don't stock market analysts ever read novels? Because the only numbers in them are page numbers. But there's nothing fictional about the numbers we're seeing from Nvidia. Further boosting this tech giant's outlook is Gene Munster's analytical vision. Despite recognizing potential short-term hurdles stemming from demand-supply imbalances and possible delays in the Blackwell series, Munster foresees sustained growth for Nvidia. This tripartite optimism, coming from Worth, Cramer, and Munster, paints a picture of a resilient and promising stock.
I'm always looking for a confirmation of the thesis, and I think we've already had it in the preamble, because the hyperscalers, the four of them combined, will be spending over $220 billion, and that is confirmed unless they essentially turn around and go back on their publicized budgets. And so we need to have a big total available market. And I think even with the emergence of AMD and maybe some other players to be named later, Nvidia is so far ahead that they'll continue to meet and beat, and they'll continue to be, not to have all the slices of the pie that they have now, but the pie will be growing quickly, and they will continue to be the dominant player. They just have so much in their ecosystem, a la somebody like Apple, that goes well beyond the GPUs. That's going to cement their leadership.
Why is Nvidia still the leader?
Well, they were so early to the market. Essentially, Jensen Huang and company, created these GPUs for computer acceleration. And so you think about it, I like their software, the CUDA software system, and all the ancillary software and service products. And so they really have a very compelling ecosystem that makes it very difficult for their customers really to go anywhere else. Over time, again, I think that they'll start to erode some market share because people want to have reliable second sources, and AMD will likely be the one. I don't have a lot of confidence in Intel. Intel has been the gang that hasn't shot straight for a long time. I'm almost given up on that particular company. But I do think it'll be a two-horse race, and Nvidia, with all the stuff it offers with its ecosystem, will be the dominant player.
Yet the intrigue doesn't end there. Recent developments in the international tech scene have added another layer of interest to Nvidia's saga. With U.S. semiconductor sanctions on China, the Chinese AI developers have been finding innovative ways to access Nvidia's advanced AI chips without directly importing them into the country. Leveraging computing power abroad and employing blockchain technology to maintain anonymity, these developers are making headway in AI while skirting around sanctions. For instance, Derek O's company moved over 300 servers loaded with Nvidia chips into a data center in Brisbane, Australia, to process AI algorithms for a Beijing-based firm. Similarly, Joseph Tsai, from a Shanghai-based AI startup, arranged over 400 servers in a California data center to utilize Nvidia's H100 chips for AI model training. The strategic maneuvers these developers employ underscore Nvidia's exceptional demand, which is a remarkably bullish signal for the company's stock. The Financial Times sheds light on how major Chinese companies like Alibaba Group Holding, Tencent Holding, and Baidu are ramping up their investments in processors and infrastructure to train AI models. Collectively, they have poured 50 billion Chinese yuan, $7 billion, into these ventures in the first half of this year alone. Compare this to Alphabet, Amazon.com, Meta Platforms, and Microsoft spending a colossal $106 billion during the same period. And it's evident why Nvidia's cutting-edge processors are in such high demand. In an age dominated by AI, Nvidia's role is becoming increasingly significant. Despite the high stakes and geopolitical complexity, Nvidia stock has surged over 176% in the last 12 months, reflecting the market's confidence in its long-term potential. While Alibaba's stock has suffered setbacks, primarily due to a weak Chinese economy and biting U.S. sanctions, Nvidia's upward momentum shows no signs of abating. So what does all of this mean for Nvidia stock investors? The answer is easy. But before going through it, if you made it this far into the video, thank you. These videos take a lot of effort and time to make, so if you enjoyed them, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. This goes a long way in helping us grow. That said, back to the video.
Brilliant people over there like Peter and Jeff Dean and everyone. But now it doesn't seem like they've kind of lost the initiative to OpenAI, and even the last leaderboard I saw, Anthropic's Claude was at the top of the list. I asked Sundar this. He didn't really give me a very sharp answer. Maybe you have a sharper or a more objective explanation for what's going on there.
I'm no longer a Google employee.
Yes.
In the spirit of full disclosure, Google decided that work-life balance and going home early and working from home was more important than winning. And the reason startups work is because the people work like hell. And I'm sorry to be so blunt, but the fact of the matter is if you all leave the university and go found a company, you're not going to let people work from home and only come in one day a week if you want to compete against the other startups.
When in the early days of Google, Microsoft was like that.
Exactly.
But now it seems to be...
And there's a long history of, in my industry, our industry, I guess, of companies winning in a genuinely creative way and really dominating a space and not making the next transition. It's very well documented. And I think that the truth is founders are special. The founders need to be in charge. The founders are difficult to work with. They push people hard. As much as we can dislike Elon's personal behavior, look at what he gets out of people.
As we wrap up this thrilling dive into Nvidia's current state and future potential, it becomes clear that this stock does not merely ride the waves of market trends, but creates them. With a promising earnings forecast, undeterred demand for its AI chips, and the collective optimism of market experts, Nvidia stands poised for further growth. The stock has shown resilience, adaptability, and unwavering confidence despite the volatile market conditions. Current forecasts place Nvidia in an enviable position. Analysts predict continued growth, bolstered by relentless demand in the AI sector and strategic corporate maneuvers aimed at circumventing hurdles like international sanctions. With its stock already achieving more than a 160% rise year-to-date, an anticipated earnings boom on the horizon, Nvidia indeed seems to be a wise investment choice. So, what do you think, viewers? Are you ready to ride the Nvidia wave and possibly reap the rewards of this high-flying stock? Share your thoughts and insights in the comments below. Let's get the conversation going on the exciting future that lies ahead for Nvidia. And finally, if you would like to know what companies like Nvidia have been up to these past few days, go ahead and click on the next video on your screen. See you there.